This is a follow-up to a video I posted a couple of days ago in which I'm repairing this Reperforator. In particular, I'm working on repairing this aluminium casting at the front. And in that video I was trying to demonstrate the process I use for repairing these, which is essentially TIG welding it. It's porous aluminium, so it's a very difficult thing to weld, but rather than try and film the actual welding of this part, I decided to demonstrate welding another part using very similar material. Unfortunately, the video didn't come out very clearly. I tried filming through a welding helmet mask, but the camera adjusted itself and it turned its gain up, and the image was way too bright for you to see anything. It also, for some bizarre reason, the welder interfered with the microphone and turned the volume completely down on it so you couldn't hear what I was saying. So I've decided to reshoot the welding part of the video, and I was just going to splice it in, but I already get accused quite often of trying to deceive people. A lot of such videos on YouTube, but I never try and deceive anyone. I just show you what I do and try and offer advice, but rather than open the door for abuse, I thought I'd just post this as a separate video. So just see this as the welding part of the video in question. So what I did is just repeat the process. I've made up as you can see, a new repair, gone through exactly the same process that I did, but hopefully this time you can see a bit more of what's going on. Haven't painted this one, but as you can see, it's turned out almost identical to the first. So we'll get on to the main part of the video, and it's still not all that clear, but it's almost impossible trying to film TIG welding, but hopefully you can see more than you could in the first one. So we'll start the process by cleaning up the material, and the idea here is to try and get all the contaminants out of the surface, and we'll start off with a very low current. It's just really trying to effectively blast the contaminants out. Now normally you would grind away some material here to make space for the weld. Because this material is so porous, we don't need to do that. It will kind of open up a channel as we clean up, and then once I've got a bit of a clean channel, I'll start to increase the current. We'll start to introduce some filler, and then try and build up a weld and see how it goes. Don't know if this will come across on the camera, but we'll give it a go and see how we get on. I might appear a bit cack-handed here. You guys are sort of sitting where my left hand would normally be, so I'm kind of coming in at a bit of a weird angle, and I can't really see the area I'm trying to weld very well. So if you're familiar with TIG welding, you know that's quite a big issue, but we'll give it a go and see how far we can get. So as you can see, what tends to happen is as we clean up the material, it starts to kind of open up, and then we get this porosity coming up, and what I can then start doing is increasing the current of the weld. we get a lot of material being kind of spattered up. You can see on the, or possibly see on the electrode, we're getting a lot of material coming up. So what you'd normally do here is stop and clean the electrode and then put down a nice clean weld. We've kind of replaced a lot of the porous material with fresh weld rod, so that's nice, relatively clean aluminium, but it's now mixed in with the porous, dirty aluminium. But what we can now see is it's starting to kind of make its way down into the base metal. It's getting absorbed. So I'm going to go over this one more time, and we'll put some fresh filler in. And what I'm trying to do here is just really clean up this weld area now. And once we've done that, we can flip it over and weld the other side. We'll leave quite a lot of material here to grind off, and that will help us avoid blowing through from the other side. At the moment it's resting on the nice cold metal welding table, but when we turn it over it's going to be sitting in space, and it'll be very easy then to blow through if the material is too thin. So I'll go over this again, we'll clean it up and end up with quite a lot of filler material here, but then we can turn it over and finish the process. Okay, so that's this side done. That's not pretty, but that's the nature of trying to weld this type of material. It's always going to look fairly messy, simply because there is no good solid material to weld onto, but it is now a good weld and it's penetrated quite a long way through. In fact, if we turn it over, we can see that we haven't blown through, but we are getting signs of discoloration on this side. And what we can now do, hopefully, is weld on this side and do the same thing and make our way all the way to the material and the filler that we just put in place. So that's the first pass. Now you can see possibly at this bottom end we've got a bit of a hollow, so I'll go back over that. Now we've gone over this once, and because we've got good metal on the other side, this is now welding quite nicely. It's getting nice and deep into the base material and we're getting a very good weld. I've got to take it easy, I don't want to blow all the way through, but I do want to make sure I get 100% penetration of the layer we're trying to weld. So it's looking quite good. I just need to get a bit more filler at the bottom. It was starting to get a bit too hot, so I had to stop, otherwise this entire area would have blown through. So we'll just get this end part filled. Okay, we've now got the entire piece built up. I haven't put a massive amount on, but I put plenty on there to grind back, and the idea here is we want to have solid filler metal all the way down to the base metal, and I haven't gone all the way to the ends either. What I want to do here is to be able to see where the cut was, so later on when I finish grinding it we can see where the start and end of the cut was. Normally you'd go right to the end and grind it away as I showed you on the test piece, and as I say, I'm doing it here just so we can see the start and end of the where the cut was. So I'll take this away, I'll get it ground, and we'll see if we need to add any more filler. So I've started cleaning the part up. I've ground the inside. You can see we have got good penetration right into the base metal and all the way across, and this is what the raw weld looks like on the other side. So again, you can see very good penetration, nice clean weld now. It's really gone down into the base metal, so we'll get this ground back. As I said, you would normally go, I've gone all the way on the back, but normally you'd go all the way across to the ends on both sides and fill in. You can see the little nicks, but I'm leaving those there. We'll be able to see where the cut was, and that will give us a good indication as to how good a job we've done in completely filling the void and making these two parts one piece again. So that's how it looks after grinding. We've got one small pit in the centre. If we wanted to, we could go back over. In fact, what I would normally do is actually go over this again before I start grinding it. And once you've been over it the first time and replaced a lot of this poor quality aluminium with the good filler material, the subsequent passes are much easier. It cleans up a lot better, and you can just keep going until you've got all these pits out of the way. Now in reality it doesn't matter on something like this. In fact, you probably can't see it that clearly, but there are more pits down here. It's just the nature of these hot metal castings. They are very porous and pitted, but if you wanted to, you could either now fill this with some kind of filler, or as I say, just go back over it, fill it back in with more filler material. You've seen it's very easy to do, and you end up with a very nice, very strong part. As I said, this is now as strong as it was when it was new, and you'd find it very difficult to break. You can see where, or possibly see where the cut was. It starts here and goes across to this point, but again, normally you'd take the filler all the way to the outside, in fact a little bit beyond, and then you can grind it back so you've got a nice square end to the joint, and you end up with a nice repair. So, well, hopefully that was a bit clearer to see than the previous video. Well, hopefully it'll come out so you can see what I was actually doing, and you found that of some interest.